education beyond borders, breaking down language barriers, and engaging communities with a genuine Chinese experience. These are the goals of the Confucius Institute at the University of Waterloo. With funding from the Office of Chinese Language Council International, commonly referred to as Hanban, Waterloo was the first university in Canada to open a Confucius Institute on its campus, second only to the British Columbia Institute of Technology.
I was in Vancouver when the first Confucius Institute was created by Madame Shu Lin, who was the grand architect of Hanban and all the Confucius Institutes. So being second, I think, is indicative of how Waterloo is always looking into the future to see what's important. And leadership at the university at that time, along with Hanban, clearly understood how important China is and will continue to be. And so this connection to China through the Confucius Institute was, I think, very forward-thinking.
Forward-thinking and entrepreneurship are nothing new here. Waterloo has been ranked as Canada's top university for innovation for 22 consecutive years. 3 young Waterloo graduates have been named to Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 list for 2014, including the creator of the Pebble smartwatch, which raised over $10 million in funding in just 38 days. Bill Gates has said that Waterloo is one of the top 5 places that Microsoft comes to for talent. Today, there are more than 400 Confucius Institutes internationally, each one aiming to bridge the cultural gap between China and the rest of the world. Waterloo's Confucius Institute opened in May 2007 under the leadership of His Excellency the Right Honourable David Johnston, Governor-General of Canada, who was then President of the University of Waterloo. It was established as a coordinated organization run jointly by Waterloo, Renison University College, and Nanjing University, one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in China.
With the Confucius Institute, we actually achieved 2 things. One is connectivity to China and a very important agency in China, in addition to all the other 400 Confucius Institutes around the world. Number 2, they help deliver the tools that our faculty, staff, and students will need to be able to function well with our partners in China, which is language and culture.
It was established under the leadership of Chinese director Zhen Qingtong from Nanjing University and Canadian director Yan Li of Waterloo. A succession of strong local and international leadership has helped it grow over the past 7 years, including Jun Liao and Xu Jiao Wang from Nanjing, as well as Gail Brandt and Bruce Mitchell from Waterloo. Today, the board of directors continues to provide strong, innovative leadership, with Yan Li still in the role as Canadian director, and Wen Yao of Nanjing University as the Chinese director.
Nanjing University is actually one of the best and most internationalized universities in China. During the years, it has established connections with more than 200 universities and research institutes in more than 70 countries. The University of Waterloo is one of our partners, and we have been cooperating in various fields, including, of course, the teaching of language and culture, which is what the Confucius Institute is doing. It adds to the international profile of both universities.
Waterloo and Nanjing have continued to build on their strong connection through the Confucius Institute. An honorary Waterloo degree was bestowed upon Mr. Ying Xinghung, the Chancellor of Nanjing University, in 2012. Founding directors Yan Li and Zhen Qingtong worked together to produce a bilingual textbook on Chinese literature, the first of its kind to be produced outside of China, and one of 2 books published through the Confucius Institute at Waterloo. One of Li's goals is to connect the Chinese and Canadian literary communities.
Because of my fields of study and interest, I've been engaged in promoting literary exchanges between Canada and China for the past 7 years by holding and organizing international conferences annually and creating opportunities for writers from both countries to meet and share ideas.
Since its launch, the Confucius Institute has hosted 5 international symposiums featuring themed cultural lectures from top Chinese and Canadian authors. It has sponsored lecture tours from visiting scholars, provided translation services to the community, and in 2009 hosted the Provincial Chinese Bridge Contest, a Chinese proficiency competition for university students. The Study in China program has taken students into China 3 times on a 7-week trip split between classes at Nanjing University and traveling within the country. It has also brought many influential Chinese scholars into Canada and local Chinese ambassadors onto the Waterloo campus.
the world is changing around us all the time, and that to keep up with those changes, we need to be engaged with the best and the brightest people, both faculty, staff, and students, and institutions. So the contribution that something like the Confucius Institute provides to us is the opportunity to engage with a country that is going through a transformation in terms of higher education in particular that has never been replicated on the planet. No one has ever done what China is currently doing with respect to higher education.
But the focus isn't just about growth on an international scale. With its offices and classrooms housed at Renison University College, an affiliated college of Waterloo, the Confucius Institute has developed 18 courses focusing on literature, culture, and language for local university students and the community.
The Confucius Institute is an excellent fit at Renison because we have an East Asian Studies program in which we teach Chinese. We have an excellent library with Chinese books. We have international students here from all over the world and a remarkable place to study, to learn, and to live.
It has also provided support to nearby universities and colleges, including Wilfrid Laurier University, the University of Guelph, the University of Windsor, and Conestoga College. More than 3,000 students have taken courses developed through the Confucius Institute. Students are often successful outside of the classroom as well, taking top prizes in provincial, national, and world Chinese contests every year.
My favorite part about taking classes, right now I'm taking Chinese, is that the style of learning is very individualized. So for me, I have one specific problem and the teacher addresses that. And every other student in the class is the same. We're not marked on how we do on a test, like say so much out of 100. We're marked on how well we improve in a certain area.
The Confucius Institute has sponsored local cultural events such as Renison's annual East Asian Festival, traditional Chinese New Year ceremonies, and peer education at Renison, a learning group for adults 50 and older. In 2013, a community organization in Guelph approached the Confucius Institute to help find a guest speaker for an 8-part lecture series on China. The Confucius Institute arranged for Dr. Ying Xiao, a well-known scholar from Tsinghua University, to come to Canada. His presentation, The Lives and Values of Ordinary Chinese People, was warmly received and regarded as the highlight of the series. The Confucius Institute has also offered hands-on community workshops in conversational and business Chinese, Chinese calligraphy and painting, and Tai Chi. The city of Waterloo is becoming an increasingly well-known hub for Chinese culture within Canada.
One of my goals at Renison has been for us to reach up and reach out to the community, and I think we've been very successful in that, in building relationships with the local Chinese community and letting the community know what we do in our academic programs at Renison.
In the next few years, the Confucius Institute at Waterloo plans to increase the number of specialized Chinese language courses, organize academic conferences and encourage cultural exchanges, provide professional training courses for local primary and high school Chinese language teachers, and establish new Chinese resource centers in the community.
One of the reasons I think it's important for a student to study Chinese language and culture is that China has become a growing power on the world stage. And in order to do business with China, you need to actually be able to understand the culture, understand the different viewpoints of where the people you're dealing with are coming from. The language also helps because there are some ideas that can only be expressed in the Chinese language that is very hard to express in the English language.
Learning how to understand a different language and culture, and strengthening the connection between two countries. That's what the Confucius Institute is all about.
It's very important for everyone on this planet to try to understand each other, and one way of doing that is through culture and through language. And so having the Confucius Institute here helps achieve that objective. It makes us all feel a little bit closer and a little bit more appreciative of each other's culture and language.
I've been to Canada for 27 years. The longer I stay, the more I feel that human nature is the same, but the languages make the barrier. By encouraging people to learn and understand different languages and cultures, we can work together to bring peace to the world.
The intercultural richness of the Confucius Institute brings extraordinary benefits, locally and internationally, achieving a global connectedness that takes us one step closer to Madame Xu Lin's vision of a world with cultural diversity and harmony.
We can only really understand our own culture through someone else's culture. And I think the Confucius Institute offers that opportunity to our, to the campus community and to the broader community within which we're embedded.